Hello YouTube, my name is Paul, hope you're all keeping well. Different angle for me this time. I thought I'd start off with the full motion video unit. It was the final piece of kit Commodore released for the CD32. In fact, I think it's the final piece of kit Commodore released, period. I think they released about 15,000 of these things. So yeah, in terms of games though, it doesn't really affect many games. In fact, it's probably 1 or 2%. The only two that I can think of, because I've not tested them all, is Cannon Fodder and the Final Gate. So I thought what I'll do is I'll load up Cannon Fodder before I put the FMV in, and after the FMV, just so you can see what the difference really is. I mean, to buy now second hand, they do fetch quite a bit of money, and I was quite fortunate to get mine as part of a bundle. I found out the best way with any sort of collecting, really. You can get bundles. Unfortunately, you can't get as many bundles anymore as you once could, but if you can get a bundle, it's probably the cheapest way to collect, to be honest. So I thought I'd just play the opening sequence, which I'm pretty sure it's just like the Amiga version. And then what I'll do is I'll put the FMV in and show you what it looks like afterwards. Can't beat a bit of Cannon Fodder, can you? Probably one of the finest games ever to grace the Amiga. Yeah, from what I remember, there's hardly any difference whatsoever between the two. I did try testing quite a few games on the CD32 with the FMV module plugged in. Unfortunately, it got a bit tedious after about 50 games, so I gave up. But ideally, they were designed specifically for decompressing MPEGs, so you can watch your CD movies. I should say compact disc movies, not flipping CD movies. What the hell's that about? Right, enough of that. Let's try it with the FMV in. Basically, the FMV cartridge just literally slots into the expansion port in the back. It's as easy as that. Alright, let's give her a bit of time to warm up. Another thing I did recently is had the machine recapped. Used to go into a lot of forums and see the first messages that used to pop up was, oh, you got to get your CD32 recapped. I was a bit dubious on it until I opened the actual machine up and saw a couple of leaky capacitors. So if you have got a CD32, get it recapped. I'll just let you watch this intro for a minute. Looks like an episode of Variety Face, doesn't it? Man, I watched one of his videos earlier on and he flipping died. So funny. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. His stuff is hilarious. And he does actually collect video games as well. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description box below. I'm sure on YouTube somewhere there's a full the full film clip to watch. But that's it, I'll wrap this bit up and then we're cracking with the big box games for the CD32. I'll see you in a bit. welcome to part 2 of the CD32 collection then. So I'm going to show you my cardboard sleeve games and show you my big box games. But they're all over the place at the minute, so I'll be reaching across here, there and everywhere trying to get them, because obviously if I pile them up anywhere specific, there'd be just too many of them. So obviously they've got quite a big footprint. So first up is a game which was released in North America. And as you know, the CD32 wasn't released in the United States, it was just released in Canada. But for some reason, loads of games found their way into the US. So the first one is Sports Football, which, like I said, only got released in North America. Should have been called Sports Soccer, shouldn't it? That'd cheer them up. Right, the Guinness Disc of Records, one of multiple resource discs on the CD32. Never used it, to be honest. A game I remember back on my Amiga, Seek and Destroy. Pretty good fun game. Bit of a shooter. And one of the more desirable cardboard sleeve games is Defender of the Crown 2. Again, I picked this one up from America, or the US I should say. Cost me about 50-60 quid back in the day, so wasn't a bad price, but nowadays it fetches about 150 quid. Another conversion of an Amiga classic is Pirates Gold. Never really played this one. Insight Technology. I wonder if these use the FMV module. Never tried it, to be honest. Now, a really good platformer I had back on my Amiga 1200. And that's Pierre the Chef is Out to Lunch. I quite enjoyed this one. Now, another quite desirable game. Got no idea why. In terms of collecting, it's desirable, but the gameplay is hideous. And that's Battletoads. The Amiga CD32 version is absolutely shit. But anyway, Degeneration. Go from a bad game to a really good game. Yeah, I've never played it. I've heard so many good things about it. Another game I had back in the day was Overkill. This comes with Lunacy. Nice play on the words there. I've never played it. Obviously Overkill's really good, but I never played Lunacy before. I always remember that heavy metal rock tune at the beginning. This is another one of those Canadian released games, and that's Diggers. Came out on big box on the floppy disk, but only came out in the sleeve on the CD32. Never really played it, to be honest, but like I said, you can only get it from North America. But it was quite cheap and cheerful, which a lot of the games over there used to be. This one was a classic, Liberation. I played this for many hours on my Amiga. It's the first game that I remember. By having my accelerator and my extra RAM, you could actually have better wall decals. So you used to be able to download it and uncompress all these wallpapers to go on the walls, which was great. It just made going into every room less laborious than the last. So that was really good. Fury of the Furries. Never really played this one. A bit too cute for me. So there's a guy who plays Rainbow Islands a lot. Right. That's those. Next up then are another couple of utilities. So the first one is Video Creator. Create your own music videos. Not that I'm going to start doing that, but I might borrow this to Old School Variety Face. You might find a better use for this than me. If you haven't checked his channel out, check it out. I watched a video of his earlier on, like I said, it was absolutely hilarious. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It made me laugh. Folio Work Player. Never seen this before until I saw it on retrogames.co.uk. Again, it was only about 20 quid, but it's got CD32 emblazoned on the CD. I've never seen it on any resource site before. In fact, I know better get out of here again. But if you'd be able to see on it, it's got CD32 on the top there. Well, on the top, on the bloody side. So yeah, something I've never seen before up until quite recently, so I'm not sure if it's unique to the CD32 or what. I'll put that one away in a minute. Right, next up is a game you've already seen, and that is the legendary Cannon Fodder. So I'm not sure if all the FMV sequences are the same as, say, that are on the PC. Another one of my favourite platformers is Soccer Kid. Been quite a difficult one to get and quite a late one. And some of these big box games, especially the ones that are really difficult to get, the only way you can really get them is from another collector. It's very rare I've ever seen Soccer Kid just appear as an auction. It does happen, but Took me a while to get that one. Marvin's Marvelous Adventure. Game I've never played. This game took me a while to get hold of as well. That's Power Drive. Kind of top-down racer. One of those early first-person shooters on the Amiga. That's Death Mask. Probably one of the weaker ones in my opinion. But it was compatible with the Amiga 500, where all the other ones I think were only AGA systems only. Next up is Humans, which I had this back in the day on my Amiga. There is a sequel to this. In fact, this is Humans 1 and 2, and the sequel obviously is Humans, was it Lost in Time? Humans Evolution Lost in Time or something? Next one, some of the best games to grace the Amiga. The Lotus Trilogy. I recently upgraded this box because mine was a bit beaten up. Same with this one. Little Devil, I don't know. Get one of those sort of Space Ace-esque games. Again, never really played that one. But I played the next one. And that's all. Everybody who had an Amiga played Zool at some point. Just comes with a little badge, which was quite a nice little touch. What? Next up is Zool 2. This one is the harder of the two to get, but getting them in box form generally is quite hard. Right. Next up is another one that's quite difficult to get hold of, and that's Disposable Hero in big box form. It's not that uncommon on the disc only, but on the on the dual case only, but in a box it's quite hard to get. Then one of the more common titles is Nigel Mansell's World Championship, which is a game I bought on my Amiga 1200. I think it was one of the first Amiga 1200 games I bought that was enhanced. It's always a nice surprise. Now, I can't pronounce German very well. Urban der Erd. Obviously never played it, so I don't speak a word of German. Not going to tell you where to get that one from, so that's too flippin' obvious. The next one is a sealed copy of Star Crusader. Again, surprisingly, this was not that expensive. A lot of these games I did get from Germany, to be honest. A lot of them got released just in Germany alone. Another sealed game, and that's Fears. That's the German release of Fears. I think I showed you the dual case version of that already. Next up are some of my favourite Amiga titles. Alien Breed Tower Assault. Arcade Pool. Not a bad game actually. Not bad at all. Another game I used to have back in the day, and that's Super Frog. Quite good fun actually, it's quite hard though. Never played this next one, and that's ATR, All Terrain Racing. Top down racer. In fact, I never played this one either. Kingpin. I played Kingpin Life of Crime on the PC, that was a bit brutal, but I never played this one. Right, lastly from this first pile is Super Stardust. Again, a game I had on my Amiga 1200. I think it was hard drive install only, but it had an amazing soundtrack. It was an amazing Asteroids clone, wasn't it, with those lovely tunnel sections. Right, let's put these down a sec. Right, next up I've got some ocean games. So first up is Ryder Cup, which is almost like the reissue of International Open Golf, because that was withdrawn from sale and a year later they brought that out. Another golf game is PGA European Tour. I found those golf games very, very slow, to be honest. I really enjoyed Nick Faldo, but those two were a bit slow. Jungle Strike. I used to have Desert Strike on the Amiga back in the day. I'm not sure if this is based on a film. It looks like it is, and that's Dennis. A recent swap out. Would like to swap this game out. I keep seeing it coming up on eBay, but I keep missing out on it. And that's Kid Chaos. Again, a bit of scuff in and out on the box. Quite a fast platform. I'm pretty sure it's developed by the same people that brought us the Lotus trilogy. Another game we used to have on the Amiga back in the day, and that's Sleepwalker. Flipping hard game. I can get to level 2, luckily, but yeah, it's really difficult. Alien Breed 3D. First game I ever played on the Amiga, linking 2 machines up together. Brilliant fun. Absolutely fantastic fun that was. And that wasn't long. I think it was roughly the same time actually. Maybe a little bit before getting Doom on the PlayStation and doing exactly the same thing. Super Methane Brothers. Again, there's the dual case variant of that. Let's put that back a minute. Right, next up is the classic Worms. Again, developed by Team 17. One of my favourite point and clicks, probably after the Monkey Island series, and that's Beneath a Steel Sky. Again, quite a desirable game. Make sure if you do get it, you get the copy of the comic in the box as well. So that's usually missing. Next up is James Pond 3. I already have it on the Kicks label as well. Like I said, it's the only system I really collect variants for, to be honest. Another Manchester United game, Manchester United Premier League champions. Box is a bit squashed on this one. Vital Light. I've already shown you the magazine cover disc of this one. The Clue. I actually played this for hours on end back in the day. You used to be able to plan your robberies. You used to actually watch and stake the buildings out and plan your getaway car, hire your crew, and off you go. Box is a little bit damaged. You can probably see a bit of water damage up there. Sticking with Neo. Got Black Viper. Bit of a Road Blasters clone. Again, not really spent much time on that, to be honest. Now, quite a few of these were going around quite recently. Spherical Worlds. Some sites claim it to be a CD32 game, while others don't. Next up is Cedric and the Lost Scepter. Again, never really played this one, to be honest. I don't know why I've still got this one in some kind of bubble wrap, but that is Fighting Spirit, one of the finest beat 'em ups on the CD32. Let's put him back a sec. Another one is the Naughty Ones. Quite a large box, quite a delicate box as well. Right, making a mess here. Right down to the last shelf. First up is Theme Park. Another game I spent hours on back in the day on my Amiga 1200. Another game from Team 17, and that's the Spirits Legacy. Another game I had on my 1200 back in the day. Bit of a Zelda clone. I think I got bored of this within about an hour of playing it. Never touched it since. Where am I? Where am I? Another cardboard sleeve game. Gunship 2000. Another game I spent hours on my Amiga. Really good flight sim. Right, let's carry on up the second shelf a minute. There's Gloom. Another game I spent hours on my Amiga. Fantastic game this was actually. Really good first person shooter. Graphically wasn't amazing, but it was a really good game. Exile. Never played this one, to be honest. It's got a weird kind of gravity thing going on. I couldn't quite get the hang of it. Guardian. See, oddly enough, there's 2 cover variants on a jewel case. Yet in a box it's just a CD without a jewel case. So 3 variants of the one game. Now there's about 3 variants of this as well, and that's Legends. There's another pack with different games in it, and there's obviously the standalone pack. Another game I had back in the day is Bubble and Squeak. One man and his dog. Good fun. Next to are football games. First up is Wembley International Soccer by Audiogenic. I think, yep. And a more difficult to get game is Super League Manager. Doesn't come up that often. There was a spell, I think it didn't come up for about a year, and then all of a sudden one or two up there quite frequently on eBay. Another German exclusive, and that's Mag. Again, never played it, to be honest, because it's all in German. So that's that shelf. Right, on the final shelf, first up is Labyrinth. Bit of a different game, not really played it for too long, to be honest. Next up, a couple of more sealed games. First up is Pinball Prelude. And the classic Syndicate, which comes with Alfred Chicken. Alfred Chicken's still in there. Busting to get out. Impossible Mission 2025. Had this on the Amiga 1200. Couldn't quite get on with it. Found it quite difficult. Right, so what we got next? Pinball Illusions. Had this on the 1200 as well back in the day. Very good graphics. Called True Pinball on the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation. Minus a table. The next one's quite a desirable title. That's Flink. I think I got this on the Mega CD and I got it on the Mega Drive as well, I think. Not much difference between the games. Yeah, that's one of those exclusives that just came out on the CD32 and never came out on the Amiga, like floppy disk. Benefactor. Another quite difficult to get game is Brian the Lion. Now I've shown you these Psygnosis games, I can probably do a full Psygnosis collection video. Running out of space. Oh, another CD32 exclusive. It's Microcosm. Didn't come out in the floppy disk machines, but obviously came out on multiple formats, starting with the FM Towns Marty. Probably one of my favourite Amiga games of all time. That's Lemmings. Bump and Burn. I think I've got a variant of this as well somewhere. Next up is a really good top-down driving game, and that's Roadkill. I think I've already shown you this in the previous part, but again, it doesn't come with a jewel case in that box. It's literally just a CD, an instruction pamphlet. Same with Global Effect, also came out just as a jewel case. I had to get this one, I think, from Europe, and I'm sure I bought it from the guy who has the largest CD32 collection known to exist. Rise of the Robots. I didn't mind this game. Wasn't too bad. Graphically was really good. But to be honest, the Amiga wasn't really blessed with many great one-on-one fighters, was it? Akira. Still partially sealed. One of the worst games on the system, apparently. And this next game I've never seen come in a Amiga CD32 box. It just came in the standard box, and that's Gulp. I've seen it a couple more times on eBay and it comes in exactly the same box. How lazy. Right, the next three games then are Microprose games. So UFO Enemy Unknown, an absolutely fantastic game. Spent many hours on this one. But on an unexpanded Amiga it's flipping tediously slow, but yeah, it's great fun. Subwar 2050. Game I've never played before. And finally, from this section, is Fields of Glory. Now these Microprose games also got released in Germany with German manuals and stuff. So if you are a variant collector, want to get every single CD32 game. I think they have a French version as well. I'm not entirely sure about the French version, but it's definitely a regional variant for Germany. Right, that's it. That is my CD32 collection up to this point. I've got about 15 games left. About that. 15 games, maybe 14 games left to show you. I'll show you those in the last part because they were an absolute git to track down. Some truly rare titles amongst that lot. I mean, games that you very rarely see. They come up once every 5 years, once every couple of years. I mean, generally, they are some of the hardest games I've had to collect for any system. So I'll see you for that final part. Hopefully get that out in a few days. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing, and I'll see you again real soon. Take care of yourselves and bye for now.